Hi, welcome to Universal Interiors. I'm Les Engelstead, and today, great big gift of a day, I get my husband Jeffrey with me, and we are going to do a little sharing. I'm just so grateful that we get to be outside in this incredible lakeside country, and the sun's shining, and it's spring, and life is just a gift, that's for certain. Jeffrey and I could certainly share a lot about many things since we've been together for over 40 years. This year, I'm going to visit. It was 8 months ago. 8 months ago, what looked like a day was today. We were outside doing our own thing. And then I saw Jeffrey driving, running as fast as he could right up the hill here. And I said, "Everything okay?" He says, "Not at all. No, it isn't." Do you remember those words?
I do.
What we shared?
Jace, our son, has fallen and he's injured. And we don't have a lot of details, but we know he's hurt and he's being rushed to the hospital. So we got in our car and we raced to in Fargo and we found him in the emergency room, being cared for. But his situation was rapidly becoming very precarious.
Yes, it was interesting because he's like, I'm good, and everything was moving, and we saw the collar around his neck, so we, could see that was, oh boy, that's great. I mean, this stinks, and you're hurt, but okay, this is good. But yet, you just knew in your heart that it wasn't.
Something wasn't right. Those who were looking after him, examining the x-rays, had decided that he was probably okay and we could take him home. And I basically told the attending, I said, no, I'm not taking him home. And then they changed out his collar.
They were just working on the collar.
And as soon as they changed out his collar, then his body just freaked out and his legs were going numb and his hands were on fire, and then it was like, oh, well, okay.
Well, he couldn't get close to him, and everything was just now amped up. Like you were saying, I mean, I'm on the positive side going, okay, well, good. I mean, he took a bump, he's going to be slow to move for a while, and Jeffrey just knew it. And as he was saying, when that C-collar was changed over, things started going crazy, and that's when they did the MRI.
When they were rushing him to get the MRI, what I was experiencing personally was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. There's no words to describe, seeing your son in a situation like that. And my heart was broken. My mind was a mess. Mm-hmm. I was even experiencing some like a PTSD where my arms were flailing without even me trying. They were just like I was falling and I had to try to catch myself. It was really weird.
Yeah, things just went so crazy so fast, and then they quickly came back to us and they said, oh, sure enough, his C6 and 7 are broke up, and T1, so all of that was just busted up.
Yeah.
So we are going into the hospital, we'll see what we're going to do next, and all of a sudden it went different. And there we were. And
shortly after that, we met Dr. Bon, a wonderful woman from South Korea.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Just an incredible surgeon. And at the time of the adjusting, going into, okay, now he's in the hospital, family and friends are starting to gather with us. And what Jeffrey and I had been experienced before, and I know I've been able to share with you, and the accident that I had so many number of years ago, that with that crazy accident, that all I just kept saying to him is just pray, and that prayer made all the difference. And that day too, we were just, all I could do on the way into Moorhead, we were just texting and start them praying, or tell them, you got to be praying, Jace's accident, we don't know what we'll find. And those first few days were so, it's just so, don't want to think about it really too much. But I was there in the room with him all the time. Jeffrey would have to come back and forth, and you would just see where you can't even get close to touching him, and everything would just go crazy on his body. And he was all tubed up in this big collar out like this, and it wasn't very fun at all.
No. But there was a lot of people that got involved.
So
family
many.
and friends from everywhere, was either coming to the hospital or they were calling or something. So the word was out, and there was quite a network of people with tremendous prayer power, and they just loved on us.
And in that time, we discovered that Jace was able to, one of the things they administered the collar on right away. And if he would have been moved around like his friends were going to, a friend of ours happened to be there and just screamed out with a stop, don't anybody touch him. And this proved to be incredibly important. For a few days later, as Jeffrey mentioned, the surgeon that we were given, like over the top brilliant. Everybody that we saw there said if they could have like a quarter of her brain, they would be amazing people. She was just the perfect person to get a hold of our son.
Yeah.
Really.
And I think, was it 4 days after the accident that he had the surgery? So
nope, actually it was 5 or 6. We were in the hospital for a week.
Okay. So she wanted to wait. She needed swelling to go down and him to become more stable. And then she did the surgery, and he came out of that just fine. And
but do you recall when she came out of the surgery and looked at us and told us what she had found? A second MRI had discovered that he had a crack in the front. His disc was cracked. So it was quite a bad situation. But when she got out of after the surgery and told us what she found, she just went like this and she said, there's no really reason that he is where he's at. It was busted, it was shattered, it wasn't in place. So she said if that C-collar hadn't been on his body, he would either be dead or would be paralyzed.
But praise God,
tough.
This very day, 8 months later, he has made a complete recovery. He came back home with us right after the surgery, and it was decided by us that he would not go to college for that semester.
Some of you parents might be able to relate to this.
There was no way he was going to do that. He wasn't going to stay with us. He needed to go back to school. He didn't want to miss any more school, and there was no way we could stop him.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
So letting him go, still at a precarious situation, we just had to let him go.
Yeah, he couldn't look down. 3 months he'd be in this, and not to look any which way. You couldn't go over because his head weighed too much, so everything had to be straight up. So there's no driving, there's no walking. It's about going into winter, right? And he's like, nope, I'm going to be back at Concordia. I'm on campus. I've got this. And we're like going,
But
determined.
He did it. He pulled it off.
Yeah.
And he made a full recovery. And we saw him today. He came home for the afternoon, and he's a beautiful kid, and he's smart, and he just finished his junior year, and he's just got a really cool job, and so
life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful, and we're super blessed.
Yeah, and we're hoping one day that you'll be able to hear on the show just from his point of view, let's just say, because this is the parents.
He did say today that he would like to tell his story.
Yeah, Raina's so great at allowing us to do the shows that we do, the freedom that we have. And I mean, I thought right away as Jeffrey was sharing something, I was thinking of the Herzog family, and Jace was a friend of his, and that tragedy happened, and yet at that same time, what a remarkable young man that guy is. And these are the things that are such mysteries that you gotta scratch your head and go, why? Why does something like this happen? But it doesn't take too long, and you realize how much good can come out of something so bad. And I know that both Jeffrey and I, Jace included, we would say that very thing. Let me just tell you, all the good from the bad.
Very life-changing.
Yeah, and that's just the way our Creator works. So oftentimes, life is very much a mystery. I bet lots of you are scratching your heads right now at this particular day for many situations. Just trust, rest, pray, and believe we have a good God. Thanks so much for joining us today. Go make it a great day.